Hey, welcome back. All Sports Western New York. Bob Kuczynski with Vic Carucci. We're talking Bills football. So the draft is Thursday. The Bills do not have a first-round pick. So as you said, anybody waiting to see a Bills uniform on Thursday or a helmet, you're not going to see it. Friday, they're going to get the 50th pick, second round. And what's your opinion as to where they're going to go?
Well, they can go in multiple directions. Quarterback is one that's been talked about quite a bit. Again, when your GM says you don't have that franchise guy, and there are perhaps a couple of players beyond the obvious top two, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, expected to go 1 and 2 in this draft, then you maybe look at a guy like Bryce Petty of Baylor, who's an interesting prospect, has had a really good sort of off-season walking up to the draft with workouts and such. Sharp guy, smart guy. The biggest problem I have with him, though, is coming from this Baylor program, and it doesn't resemble NFL football or NFL offense whatsoever. I mean, they literally, working with those placards from the sidelines, one word or color to describe what a play is, throwing to just an area of the field, not reading anything. He's got so much learning to do and unlearning, I think, of what his college career was like. So that'll be a name to possibly look at. You heard Garrett Grayson's name, Colorado State, another quarterback. A guy who might not make it out of the first round, initially thought maybe would be there, was Brett Hundley, the UCLA quarterback, but I think a very raw athlete. He's got a lot of athletic talent, but very raw. So I wouldn't rule out a quarterback. I think more specifically, if their board says that a Laken Tomlinson, for instance, a guard from Duke, best guard I think in the draft, is there, that you have to go with him. But I subscribe to the Bill Polian theory, and that is your need and your grade have to cross at that point. If you just go need, you're always making a mistake. He is, to him that's like quoting from the Bible. You don't mess that up. Need is never something you reach for. It has to cross with your grade and be true to your board. A.J. Kahn is another offensive guard, South Carolina, whose grade might put him in that 50 range. So I'd look for the need possibility to be filled. Guard is a definite one. The quarterback thing would be more interesting than anything else. How much it would help the team, though, Bob, is my question, because that's a guy who I don't think sees the field probably for a while. And I mean, I still think you're looking at a year where the likelihood is in E.J. Manuel and or Matt Castle, probably both maybe at one point or another, are your quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think if they draft a quarterback with the fight for the starting position, and the fact that you have a veteran, somebody who's almost still considered a rookie, and a third player, that the guy they brought in from Baltimore,
Tyrod Taylor,
who is also in that still hoping to get his shot mode. Where the heck does a rookie get a chance in that type of atmosphere? I just don't know how that would work.
I don't either. And it'll be interesting to just sort of see how that all plays out for this team, because you will talk about it. We're going to talk about it more than anything, and yet in terms of what the Bills' chances are to succeed, as we talked about in the earlier segment, it better be that they're running well. It better be that LaShawn McCoy is on pace to become the leading rusher in the league, or right up there as he's been before. It also better be that the offensive line, that was a disaster in so many ways last year, finds its way this year, that Richie Incognito is an upgrade, that maybe they do some things, moving some people around, maybe that Aaron Cromer's coaching as the new O-line coach takes hold. Those will be the primary reasons. And of course that defense, which was 4th overall in the league and up there in first place in a couple of statistical categories, not only doesn't slip, Bob, but takes a step up because of Rex's coaching, which, by the way, Rex has basically promised.
Yeah, he's pretty much assured everybody.
Number one defense in the league, he said, yes.
I love the Fred Jackson story. Fred Jackson said, don't go and crown LaShawn McCoy as starting running back, because I'm still on this football team.
I thought that was terrific in talking with him during the voluntary offseason workouts. And the answer, I think, caught a lot of people by surprise. You kind of thought he was going to give a Fred, because Fred can pretty much be the man for all situations in terms of his media savvy, but he will be straight with you. That's what I know that's what you guys have loved with him here with the shows he's done, and what we love in talking with him media-wise. He was, I thought, as straightforward as could be. I know he wasn't saying in his realistic mind that he's winning that job, but he wanted to make it clear that the $16 million man that's aboard, who is making more money than anybody on the team, as much money as almost any player in the league to play running back, isn't just going to get the carries and get the job that Fred mostly was the primary man to hold.
And that works on so many levels, because I know Fred's smart enough to realize that's for the best of the team. Because if McCoy thinks that this veteran is going to be barking at his heels, he's going to work harder. He's not going to say, okay,
I think that was Fred, and that is absolutely what Fred's point was, yes.
Yeah. All right, the schedule. Interesting schedule. They've got home game, bookend home, games, pair of home games at the beginning and the end of the season, and this really brutal road schedule in the middle.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a challenge for this team, regardless of their talent level.
It is. I mean, I think, to me, it's simpler to just define the schedule by what you just said, the first two that are home and the last two that are home, because those will go, I think, the farthest to determine what the Bills are going to be in 2014, how those are handled. You got the Colts and the Patriots, of course, the two teams that scored off for the AFC Championship game. There's reason to believe, as they are both pass-oriented teams, that the pass rushing strength of the Bills playing at home gives them a chance to maybe split those two games, and that's vital. And then coming up with a road trip, playing Miami right after that is another game to kind of look at as a defining game, because now you've played two of your first three in your division and all three in your conference. And then to end it, with that Dallas and Jets game at home to finish the schedule, if you're still playing for something, that too will be, and given the way tickets have sold, normally those December games, it gets a little, and you could still get some issues if the weather is what it is to keep people home. No blackout issues, but those games, so the sellout is even irrelevant in that from that standpoint. But nonetheless, something that is on the line and at stake, quite possibly, with those two last games at home.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 out of those 4 teams were 3 of the best teams in the league last year. One was a Super Bowl champ, obviously, New England.
Yeah.
And Dallas coming in so late in the year is an interesting matchup, too.
It really is.
To see them in a cold weather situation, I think, would be great for the Bills fans.
That's the thing. And look, there's been, understandably, a lot of focus on 5 out of 6 on the road, 3 in a row on the road, 2 of those 3 being primetime games on the road. Yes, it sounds brutal, it feels brutal, and some people have gone as far as the collective staff of ESPN insiders had them with 5 wins predicted, and then you get the other extreme, and Heath Evans, the analyst, former NFL player for NFL Network, predicting them to win like 12 games, I think, win 9 in a row.
Yeah,
so that's a little ambitious too. But somewhere between those two, I think, is what you have. I don't think it's as bad. Again, you can't just. You knew who you were playing all along, and you can't just look at the configuration of the schedule and say this means you're in real trouble. Yes, the 3 in a row on the road, history will tell you very few teams come out of that very well. But in 1991, and during that Super Bowl run, when the Bills last had a 5 out of 6 on the road, they were 5-1 in that stretch, just for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But
and
Jim Kelly isn't the quarterback.
They also had a couple Hall of Famers.
Maybe about 3 or 4, yeah.
Vic, it's so great to have you. Now, where are you going to be covering the draft Thursday night?
I'll be actually at One Bills Drive. I was going to, initially I thought about Chicago, but without the first-round pick, that kind of made that a little less appealing.
Plus,
I'm still curious to see how it'll go down in Chicago. And if you were going to say this, a lot of people aren't showing up in Chicago. The key players aren't going to be there. And I think it's because, honestly, because it's Chicago.
The Bills will feed you for free Thursday night. So,
well, I'll find a meal anywhere. That's the key. But a healthy one.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Vic Carucci, it's so great to have him on the show. Nobody knows football better. Vic, thanks for being on again, and enjoy the draft.
Thanks, Bob. You too.
We'll be back to wrap up All Sports right after this.